Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Hey everyone, this is Ryan Cook from Gene Simmons Band, and you are listening to Ages of Rock podcast.
Hey folks, this is episode number 143, and this week we have Brent Fitz on the show. But before we get to Brent, of course, we're going to babble off our nonsense bullshit. Dennis, would you like to start?
Babbling on bullshit? Nonsense? What? We don't do that.
Us? No.
Never
heard of it.
See, before we get into our kind of a mid-topic, I'd like to say...
Well, I guess we should tell them our mid-topic is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, of course.
I didn't make that
the beginning
clear.
topic. I'm confused.
I didn't make that clear when I introduced
Well,
the
I
episode.
thought we were going to... just this like normal. We have no plan.
No.
Totally unprofessional.
So anyway, we had a bunch of people that's been conversing with us a lot lately. We were just going to bring a few of them up. Bill, would you want to bring a few of them up?
From the depths of hell, or where am I bringing them up from? Okay, so we got a couple of people that have reached out. So we're gonna give a shout out to a few folks. David Cathy and Brian Harris.
Yeah, they're always on the punch.
Yeah, they are on that. Like, we can post an episode and boom, they're on there like nanoseconds.
We did
we got an email, a great email. So from Sheldon Markin, which is awesome.
Which we met him in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he is from Canada, the Great White North, and he's in Calgary now. I don't think it's where he was before, but he says he's in Calgary now.
We're starting to get a Canadian thing going on.
I
Maybe
know.
we're going to be the rock podcast of Canada.
Right. But just wanted to I emailed him back, but just wanted to tell him also we do appreciate getting emails and stuff from all you people and discussing the show and what have you and what you're doing and shows
those
you're doing.
Of you who share the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do that too.
Even more.
And one of these days, we keep promising every week, when you share the show, we're going to say your name, and then I forget.
Yeah.
Hey, we just said some names.
Yeah, there we go.
We said
We're
3
starting.
names. And not in vain either. So that's pretty, like, usually when we say like Jeff Rogers, we're usually just giving him
Wake
shit.
up, Jeff.
And he's probably still asleep. I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway, he
it's
got through the last show.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's good to have people that are regular listeners, viewers, watchers, whatever, and like the show. So it's cool.
So yeah, share the show, retweet the show, wherever you share your information with your friends, we would appreciate it.
And if
you don't have some friends, go make some friends, because we need more friends.
If you got comments or you got some ideas for us, please tell us. If we're doing something wrong, please tell us. You can tell Bill that.
Yeah, if you have an idea for a topic you'd like us to discuss, we might even have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Get out of here. We just don't let anybody on the show.
Sure,
Dennis
is here.
Pretty well.
Oh, that's true. All right, I forgot. And the next segment is lowered expectations.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I bought a book, guys. I'm going to check this out. I'm going to show you this.
I
bought a book.
Cool.
So a friend of mine is called Rock This Town.
Right.
It's a backstage in Cleveland, stories you've never heard and swag you never saw. So back in 1966, there was a gentleman named Jules Belkin and his brother that started Belkin Productions that went on for years and years and years in the Cleveland area. And so this is by his wife Fran.
Right.
And this is, a friend of mine told me, Judy Waxman, who is a really big rock fan, worked at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then as a friend of mine, so she keeps tabs on me every now and then. She was a rep that I used to work with. And so she heard about this book and said, hey, Bill, you got to check this out. So I looked at it online and then I bought it. It is the coolest thing. And it's really from a promoter's view of how things work.
Oh, neat.
When they very first started back in 1966. And there's stuff from our favorite band in here. And so I got it today. It's not very big, it's really thick.
So what years does it run up to? You said it started in
I
late
think
60s.
they sold it. So they, like everybody else, right, sold the production company or the promotion company to Live Nation. So I'm trying to see here real quick. When does it go to? I thought it did say in here, and I cannot remember for the life of me.
Oh, that's no big deal. I just was curious if what
give me
span we're looking
second,
at.
And it's because it's in here. But I can't remember it to save my life. Anyway, it's a really cool book so far. I mean,
Okay.
I've like been on it, and it's really neat.
It's a Amazon buy or anything.
Yeah, it was like
that.
$18.
Barnes
But the
and Noble
pictures in here are really cool, and they're really
Alan likes books.
they're like
with pictures.
Polaroids and stuff like that of people, which is pretty cool. So not like Gene Simmons Polaroids. They're Polaroids of like
Right.
bands and stuff like that.
Cool Polaroid.
But one of the things they used to do that I didn't know this was a big deal, but swag. So they kind of first started this whole swag thing by giving the artist and their crews swag, like T-shirts from the venues and stuff like that.
Right.
They would give them different things like bags, and it was kind of cool. So,
Right.
and it would actually help them, because then when the people came back around, they would say, "What do you got for us? And where's our swag?" And so
Right.
it started to become a thing, and it really turned into this
Hmm.
kind of pretty big deal. But it's really cool, and it talks about things that are on different people's writers and that kind of stuff. And this is one you'll like. I just read this part, and you guys will think this is funny. We're big Barry Manilow fans, right? So
Of course.
Barry Manilow had in his writer that gosh darn it, I just had it. Oh man, come on! I hate
This thing's called bookmarks.
Okay, yeah. So
Bill is having a dentist moment, people.
I'm
No,
laughing. I'm loving it
but
too.
I found it. It's right here.
I'm just sitting back loving it.
Barry Manilow was Bette Midler's music
Right.
director, and so it says Manilow later enjoyed solo success, and his writer came with an unusual request. No one looks at Barry when he leaves his dressing room. Everyone is to face the wall until he is on stage.
Really?
What an arrogant piece
Hey,
of shit.
Barry, fuck you.
Exactly. Like, wow, what a douchebag.
That's kind of stupid. Wow. Don't look at me. Look at the hand.
There's like excerpts in here and stuff from people that used to work for them and people that were stagehands and worked security, and it's kind of cool. It's a neat book. So if you get a chance to grab it, it's pretty cool.
I will. I'll definitely do that. But
That's what I had. I don't think I didn't buy anything else this week.
I didn't buy any records.
I told earlier I buy stuff all the time, so I have to.
Do you have any stories to tell, Dennis?
Stories?
Yeah. Did you go to any movies or
movies.
before we get to the movies, did you go see any shows or anything like that?
No shows. Took my first guitar lesson. I did that last Thursday, and it was pretty interesting. Basically, just me and Dave sit there and kind of talk, just kind of feeling each other out as far, and he wanted to know where I was, what I was.
You dating him, or what are you doing?
We were sitting across the room from each other.
Weirdo.
But basically, I've known Dave for
play
a
my
long.
instrument for you.
I've known Dave for a long time, and it's just one of those situations. And he's actually heard our band playing stuff, so he kind of just like, okay, what are you wanting to learn? Where are you at? What do you want to do? And then I told him, and then he's like, okay, well, we'll just start there and this basic scale, talking about scales. So we didn't get a whole lot accomplished, but there was like 2 or 3 kind of moments when he's explaining things, going, oh, well, that's cool. That makes things a lot easier. There's kind of these oh shit moments, because it's funny, because I've been doing this for so long, I don't know what I'm doing, and now he's putting some theory behind it. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. And of course, I even posted that I'm played on a little amp that they had there, and of course, I think it's a scam because I'm going to buy one. Should never go to a nice music store to take lessons, because then you start buying stuff every time I go. But little Boss katana or katana, however you say it. Make it a little 50 and 100. I'm getting the 100 watt, and it's pretty cool. It's got all the Boss pedals on it already built in. You can actually hook it to your computer and actually adjust everything by doing that instead of trying to hit buttons and shit like that. You just point and click on your screen, and it looks like a little digital thing, and you can, it's really cool.
That's what amps do these days. Did you not know that?
Yeah, they're a lot better now, easier. But so anyway, that's what I did, and no shows, no records, but I did go see the movie we're going to be talking about again on Saturday. My son had not went, and my parents had not seen it. Actually, my parents, I called them and said something about, would you like to go to the movies? And I knew Mom wanted to see it. And she's like, yeah, I'd like to go. And I said, well, Dad, he's welcome to go too if he wants to. But my dad was always he never liked theaters that much because he always said that the seats were uncomfortable, and he just, I don't know, just didn't. We'd go to the drive-in and stuff like that, but we never really went to theater that much. So
Wait a minute. Wait. Your dad wouldn't go to the theater because it was uncomfortable, but you'd go to the drive-in, which is like the world's worst.
No, because if you got a nice car, you sit in your car.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like
anyway.
Too funny.
But the funny thing was, we walked in and got our tickets, and then I went to the bathroom. Kelly got some popcorn, and I come back out, and my mom and dad are sitting there kind of laughing in the lobby, and I come out. I had thought about this when I was in there. I come out. I said, "Mom," I said, "when was the last time you guys have been? What was the last movie you guys saw in a theater?" And I knew it's been a while, you know.
And Star Wars 1978.
She laughed, and she goes, "We were just discussing that." And I go, "Well, what was it?" And she goes, "E.T. 1981.
I wasn't far off.
You was not far off. My mom and I went, because it was an R-rated movie. My mom and I went to see The Shining. That was 1980, and then we had seen Ghost Story also. That next year was 80. I think that was 82. And then Mom and Dad went to see E.T. and it was 81. So I thought that Dad was like, "Boy, these seats are really nice now," you know, because you got your stadium seating. Nice,
stadium seating. They got recliners, and
these aren't recliners. Some of the ones in Newburgh aren't recliners.
The ones in Evansville are recliners, dude.
Unless you go into the suites, then they have the.
No, not the suites.
Oh, they are in
the regular. The regular cinema. All of the stadium or all of the theaters have recliners.
Wow, Newburgh does not.
Yeah. You have to reserve a seat there too.
You can reserve a seat. It's a good idea if it's a movie that's pretty popular.
I know IMAX you can. I know Max used to do that. And then those, of course, the Royal Suites where you go and eat and stuff, you have to kind of reserve those
seats. Know, we talked about doing that because we went to that movie with some friends, and I said, I really don't want to hear somebody smacking their lips eating it over next to me, because that's disgusting enough when I hear somebody that I know do it. And you hear somebody that I don't know chewing their cud. Nah, fuck that.
No, we've done it a couple times. It's kind of neat. But so anyway, now that Alan has seen the movie.
Well, I don't want to talk about the movie quite yet because I haven't done my little spiel.
Oh, I forgot.
Do your spiel.
You always forget.
Spiel it, man.
Spiel it.
My friend Bill went to a charity auction, and he is not a KISS fan, but he knows that I'm a KISS fan. So he bid on an item, and he won it, and he asked if I would like it.
There you go.
I have a KISS bowling ball now.
There you go.
And it doesn't
have
cool. It doesn't have any holes in it.
Oh, it doesn't have any holes in it.
No. You get it
drill that thing out.
You get it custom drilled. And it's I think it came out during the reunion era.
Yeah.
And the first thing someone asked me was that a legit thing, or is it one of those counterfeit things?
I'm sure it's licensed.
It's a legit
thing. Well,
it's I remember them coming out.
No, it was copyright 2004 KISS Catalog Limited, so I guess that wouldn't be reunion after all. Under license by Signatures Network. So I think that was the merchandise, like Mike Brandvold. I think he was the one that was helping run that at the time. So as far as I can tell, that is official KISS merchandise. So
could you imagine if
don't sue me?
So that that has the original 4, and everything. So what if you got a ball now that had the new band on there, and when they drilled the hose, you drilled through Tommy and Eric's head? If somebody didn't like, you know what I'm saying, it'd be like.
I was just thinking the opposite. I was just about to say,
drill through Gene and Paul's head and leave Eric and Tommy's. No,
funny.
But I haven't bowled in several years. I got bad knees now, and so it'll just be a little piece sitting here on my desk somewhere. Big ass paperweight, 14 pound paperweight.
Yeah, that's good.
Excuse me while I set my ball over here.
Yeah.
It's big, it's round, it's smooth, and it's hard.
And it's got KISS on it.
That's cool.
One more thing.
Whoa.
Our guest on the show last week, John, pointed out to me and my friend Adam Stewart, he found some KISS merch in Big Lots. So, of course, my dumb ass ran straight down to Big Lots, and I got this Love Gun coffee, and it's a huge coffee mug.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it's got
Yeah.
Buffalo Ranch Party popcorn in it. So
Cool.
from
I have
1975.
no, no. This was licensed in 2018. KISS Catalog Ltd. under license to Epic Rights. So I have one for you, Dennis, and I have one for you, Bill.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
So now I got to buy you
Merry
something for
Christmas, bitches.
So that'll
Or-
hold that coffee mug
Merry
will hold
Christmas, bitches.
There you go.
that,
There you go.
that coffee mug will hold like 4 gallons of coffee.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, that's probably a 20 or 21 ounce mug.
Probably is. Cool.
Good
So
deal.
let's talk Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Cool.
Yeah, great movie.
I
Both gonna start there.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Twice.
Uh-oh.
And, I mean, it was good. But something happened. Hello,
What's the matter, Bill?
Bill.
Bill looks like he's freaking out.
I don't know.
Oh, I thought he was like,
Quit working.
oh, is it?
Oh.
All of a
working?
sudden, you guys just stopped. Yeah, it popped up says poor connection.
Oh, it's your end.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all Bill's
you're-
fault.
It is. It's okay. I got no problem with it.
No, I thought the characters were really good. I mean, everybody that they had playing all those parts, I think they did a real. I mean, they were. I mean, hell, Brian May. That
I
dude
was going to say, is that Brian May's son that played that part? Good Lord, that dude was
I
dead
thought-
on.
He was dead on,
The-
and
the
even
dude
Deacon
that-
wasn't too
The
far
dude,
off.
the dude that played Roger Taylor, I didn't think
Uh,
he looked much like him, but
No, not really.
the
Yeah,
movie
when I-
really
when I-
wasn't about those three guys anyway.
Right, but
No, but I liked how they didn't make the movie only about Freddie. That it
Right.
was really about their journey, and that's how it should have been. So
And for all you critics out there, this is not a documentary. This is a movie. So just because it's not exact, maybe in order things of how it happened, and maybe not exactly how things came about, that's just the way it is. So
Shut
get
up.
over it.
Oh,
Just get
shut up.
over it. It's a very enjoyable movie. Nothing stuck in my craw. You know, I knew there was a few things that happened that didn't happen, and a few things that happened a little bit different. Didn't bother me a bit. Just kept my mouth shut and went on. And like I said, it was well done. I know I got home, and as soon as I got home the first time I watched it, I got my DVD out from Live Aid and watched that thing. And I mean, it was like, I've even seen some that they've tracked now on the internet. They've tracked them side by side, and I mean, it's just everything on there is exact.
pretty amazing.
It is really good. It is really-
Did you guys catch the part where they were in the when they were playing Bohemian Rhapsody for their manager guy, whoever he was? Did y'all catch who played that part?
Of course. Yeah, I caught it right off the bat.
Did you catch the comment that he made about teenagers
Yeah.
banging in a car?
Yeah, of course. That was what made it funny.
Well, what was funny is I didn't realize who that was at first, and then
Really?
I realized before that scene got there,
right.
but he said something, and one of the phrases that he used sounded very much like Shrek. I turned
Right.
around and looked at Laura, and I'm like, "That's Mike Myers." And then no sooner did that's Mike Myers come out of my mouth, and he made the comment about teenagers will never bang heads in their car to this or whatever. Yeah.
there was
And I
one thing-
I could tell in the theater that there were like 5 of us that got that because you heard the 5 of us laugh. Everybody else was just like, "What?"
One thing I didn't, and I've seen it twice, and I still didn't hear exactly what was said. When they play their first song together, when they do the Keep Yourself Alive, when they come out to that little bar, and, you know, he's having trouble with the microphone, and he starts doing the tambourine. He gets over toward the character playing Brian May, and Brian says something to him. And I think he said, learn the song, Freddie. But I
Yeah,
don't-
it was
that what
something
it
to
was?
that
Yeah.
effect. And he told
Okay,
him
Yeah,
to
learn the
stop.
song, learn the words.
Stop
He said it
ad-libbing.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was like the one thing I didn't catch the first time is whenever he said, he goes, "I think I'm bisexual," and she says, "No, Freddie, you're gay."
Yeah, you didn't hear that the first time?
I didn't hear it the first time. I didn't hear her say that. I just heard what he said, and then I don't know, for some reason it didn't I have bad hearing sometimes. If I'm not really paying attention, I can miss something.
What?
And, but I'm exactly. But I did miss that the first time, and the second time I looked at it, I was like, I missed that the first time. When she said that.
I bet
But
you could watch that movie 10 times and pick something up every single time.
Probably.
spent more time watching other characters the second time I watched it, because the first time I basically watched. I watched the Freddy character the whole time, just watching what he did, everything, and everything else was kind of just on in the background. Well, this time I spent more time watching the other people, the other people, just everything going on in the whole thing.
I thought it was funny when they had the argument about about the car.
Oh,
the
yeah.
song about yeah.
Well, that was a continuing joke the whole
Yeah.
time. That song was brought up I don't know how many times throughout the movie, and that's funny. I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
'Cause it was
a really good movie. I liked it a lot.
I did too. Yeah,
I would go back. I'd go see it again.
I would be shocked if he doesn't get some kind of nomination for that. Do you think it'll go that far?
Nope.
Really?
He should, but I don't think he will. I hope you're right.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, around Evansville, it is all the buzz. They've got big old marquees up all over Showplace East. Congratulations to Rami Malek about...
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Because we went to U of E and everything.
He was, 03?
Good Lord, he graduated 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, he's done other movies. I mean, he's done quite a few. One thing I did do, though, I was kind of curious because I know that, this thing has been in the process for almost 8 to 10 years. They've been talking about this movie, and
originally
Sacha Cohen was originally slated to play Freddy, but
that
there was always
div it out on that or something.
I'm glad he didn't.
You know what though, and it's kind of though I did a lot of research after I seen it the first time and dug up a lot of interviews between him and Brian May and all that stuff. And the one thing that he left about, and I'd heard it, I'd forgot about it, but I remembered after hearing it. And the reason he actually left the project was the way that Brian and them wanted to do the movie. And I do remember that being said. And they did the movie like Sasha wanted to do it. He actually kind of, originally, the Queen movie was supposed to have Freddy dying in the mid part of the movie. And then the second part of the movie was actually about how Queen went on after Freddy's death. And Sasha was like going, nobody's going to go see a movie where the main character dies.
See, now that's where he's wrong, because I was surprised that it ended where it ended. I wanted to see some more of the after.
I knew that's where it was going to end.
I didn't look anything up. Anytime I want to see a movie like that, I try to avoid any more than the previews.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't look anything up.
Yeah,
but,
I was surprised that it ended where it did. I thought it would at least make it up to the time that he passed.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going to end where it began. I mean, I didn't expect that to be.
See, I kind of had heard that was the final.
I didn't expect it to be like that. That it started that way and then it went back.
Well,
to the story
when it started that way, I should have realized that's where they were going to end it. Because usually when a movie starts like that, that's right where it ends up. But I was oblivious, and I hadn't even been drinking.
Go ahead. But that was one thing too that I remember that Sasha was complaining about originally too, was the fact that he said they were whitewashing it, not going to show a lot of Freddy's other side because everybody. But the thing is, everybody knows the stories of the midgets running around with cocaine on their heads, at these parties and stuff. I mean, they used to be naked people laying on the tables with food on them, serving them on naked people. I mean, they did all kinds of shit.
Well, I'm sure they wanted the movie to just be rated R.
Well, that's the whole point was they were trying to keep it from being an R-rated movie, number one. But number two, I think they went way farther than I thought they would. I mean, it delved into when we went to when he was in New York quite a bit, and the Munich stuff. That was pretty.
Yeah, I don't think it went into it very far.
But it went.
I thought I glossed over it. I mean,
but I thought
it was pivotal, but
right.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
They let you know what he was doing. They just didn't go into detail, but gave you this is what it was in a montage, and you fill in the blanks. That's kind of what they did, which I think that's fine. This wasn't a TMZ based film. This was
It was a long movie though.
Right. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. 220. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
which I made it twice through there without having to go to the bathroom. I don't know how I did that.
How do you do that? Because you're on here, you have to pee every 3 seconds.
And I even drank one of the big Mountain Dews too. I don't know how I did it. I had to piss afterwards like a racehorse, but I went right before the movie and like stayed there the whole time. So anyway,
crazy.
But I thought it was well done.
Definitely go see.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get it.
I'm gonna go.
Can't wait to get the DVD, and I want to see hopefully they got a shit gob of behind the scenes and the making.
That's a lot.
That would be really cool.
That's what I want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep.
They have an opportunity. Even if they haven't got all that done yet, now seeing how the movie's done, they've got a huge opportunity just to roll in the cash.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Huge opportunity.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few Queen, Freddie Mercury type shirts that have been, they've got a lot of these out now and stuff like that, and I don't know if they're all authorized or not. When they go on Facebook, usually they're not. But anyway, but yeah, I think you'll see a big jump in record sales, CD sales, streaming, stuff like that. I'm sure that they said as of this last weekend, this is a $52 million movie and it's made $122 million, so it's very profitable already. That's they've almost tripled their money on it. So yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Yep, I liked it. So anyway, I think that's all I got for today.
All right. Without further ado, Brent Fitz. How you doing, Brent?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Awesome.
I'm much better now talking to you guys. I missed you.
Exactly
I haven't seen you since, was it the Indie Expo?
That is correct.
Uh-huh.
That is correct. Yep.
Well, you see Yahoos. You seen the two of us, or Alan and Bill at the concert up in northern Indiana.
At Fort Wayne.
We
saw you at Fort Wayne.
Yeah. We saw you 2 weeks in a row.
I think we played Fits Like a Glove that night, which was not normally in the Gene set. So.
Yes, and it was FITZ Like a Glove. I saw the set list when I got up on stage.
Yeah, and so Gene was kind enough to gift me a vault recently, and he put on the top of it, Fits Like a Glove, of course.
That's awesome. That is cool.
Yeah.
So you've been in some pretty shabby bands over time, right? There's not been anybody that's ever been big or been awesome, right? I mean, it's like we were talking about this earlier. It's like maybe we should just ask him. Can you tell us who you haven't played with? Would it be easier that way? That's awesome, man.
You know what, guys? As a musician, sometimes the gigs are high profile and sometimes they're not. But sometimes doing a gig includes not having it be a Facebook post or a Twitter post, because playing drums, playing music or whatever doesn't always have to be a major, email internet blast of, hey, look at me, I'm doing this. So when I work and play music, sometimes it's I will guest on something, just on a different instrument, play piano or play guitar or something, and those are kind of my little, for me, moments. And yeah, obviously touring around the planet playing in Gene Simmons Band is a cool thing, but I'm doing that a couple days a week, and I might be home doing something in a studio, or I spent a lot of time in Nashville over the last several years, and I live in Vegas, and sometimes things come up in Vegas. And I mean, if you want to put, since I saw you guys in, let's say, Indie or that Gene show, I did a whole tour with Slash in the last month and a half, and I just came back from that. But just in the last couple of weeks, beside the cruise, I was rehearsing for the cruise. I was also, on a quick 24-hour notice, I flew to LA and I did a session with Phil X, who I have another band with called The Drills. He plays in Bon Jovi, and I cut away for a day just to do a session. So, in the middle of doing another rehearsal for another band, I break away and go and do something else. And, sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing because I can't plan the next week ahead. I'm talking to you guys now as I'm frantically, after I get off the phone, I'll be rehearsing for my next gig, which is I'll be on a plane tomorrow to go for some rehearsals in Los Angeles. And then I'm heading up to Canada and my Canadian supergroup called Toque, which also has Todd Kearns from in Slash's band, and Corey Churko, who plays in Shania Twain and Kelly Clarkson. And our drummer, Shane Gallus, is from probably the most successful rock band in Japan called the Bees. And he's played with Yngwie Malmsteen and I think Michael Schenker and a bunch of cool gigs as well. But I am the bass player. So most people who know Brent as, oh, Brent's the drummer that plays with Gene Simmons and, Slash and all these other gigs. Well, I actually have another, I guess that's my alter ego. But all of this satisfies my crazy musical palette of just being busy. And I don't like to get too complacent. And maybe I've done so many gigs with all these different artists because that's part of the charm is, I often wonder if I was Alex Van Halen, who is one of my favorite drummers. Right. He's had most of his career with his brother, Eddie Van Halen, in the same band. And I don't know what that would be like just to have played with, a handful of people, because every day of the week I get to play with somebody, new. And I love the personality, changes of different musicians. And that's, I guess, part of my musical makeup is to and maybe I'm good at that. I don't know. People call me, so I must be adaptable.
Well, that was kind of interesting that you say that, because we had a guest on, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Colleen Provo.
Kaylin Provo.
Yeah.
Kaylin Provo. She's probably your biggest fan in Canada. She's constantly, between you and Todd, she's tweeting and Facebooking and hashtagging you guys' name and Toque's name. But when she mentioned that, I got on to, because I had never really heard of Toque, and I'm like, I'm going to check this out. So I got on to YouTube, and I saw there was you guys were doing a Rush cover.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, well, fuck, Brent's playing bass. And, it's like he's in it, and it's like, Todd's playing guitar. It's like, well, this is odd. And then I got onto Spotify, and was it Given or Giver?
Giver.
Yeah. I tell you, Giver, that dude, I cannot stop listening to that album. That is the coolest freaking thing I've heard in a long time. I love cover tunes, but you guys, absolutely just tear every one of those up. And they're fun. It's awesome.
The purpose of making a record and celebrating those songs is, coming from Canada, Todd, sure, myself, Corey, and Shane, we all sort of grew up loving a bunch of artists that some of them are, maybe not as popular in the rest of the world, and especially in sure, America. April Wine, Loverboy, Aldo Nova, Honeymoon Suite, some of those bands we know, but then there's the lesser knowns. And what we thought would be cool is, in between our many gigs, we have done some charity events up in Canada, and we like to go back to our homeland because we've all lived down in the States for many years. Todd and I have been in Vegas I've been here for 20 years, and I was in LA before that. And Corey and Shane, live in LA, and we're always working with these international artists. Anyway, the album was just we should record the stuff that we go and play for these charity events and have fun. And we just thought, well, maybe it's worth giving back to those bands that we loved and makes, an album and celebrate their songs. And then, now it's kind of turned into we never intended it to be much of just for ourselves, but right, we've been, finding that people really love hearing those songs. And we painstakingly try to honor those bands by making the songs sound, they are like a fresh coat of paint.
Note for note, but like you said, they're fresher. They're updated sound, but you didn't go crazy and change everything. Like you said,
some of them are great. And we just felt, if we just honor the fact that we always thought the song was great the way it is, right, and we're not going to dismantle it and give it a whole new spin that people are like, I don't even recognize the song. So, some people view doing covers as a means to recreate it in their own way, and it has nothing reference wise. I don't know, if you use American Woman, the Lenny Kravitz version is awesome, but the original version done by the Guess Who are actually a band from my hometown, Winnipeg. One of the signature parts of the song is that melody line, da 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 da, ba ba da da. Really cool guitar thing. It doesn't even exist in Lenny's version, which is fine, but he interpreted it a different way. So anyway, Toque is it's topical right now because I'm leaving tomorrow to go do a couple weeks of Toque gigs. And you know what, guys? I'm still coming off the high from being on the KISS Cruise last week, and just before that, I was out with Slash for a month and a half. So I never get to come down from the musical excitement. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
what do you do on your day off? I mean, do you get a day off?
Sleep.
No, I'm not saying that to be a smart aleck. I mean, do you just find yourself like bored and lost, or is it one of the, because I would imagine that if with all that activity, coming down from that can be a bit of a problem sometimes for some folks.
Well, I mean, I'm a happily married guy, and I have, another life that is nice to come home to, and being away from like always playing music when I'm not at home. That's the only thing, is like, in order for these gigs to happen, 99% of the time, it's not in Las Vegas. Like I don't have a job in Las Vegas where I go to, I don't play on the Strip. I'm not in Celine Dion or something. So I go out of town, and then when I come home, I try to be a half decent, like husband that's, I get to be, my wife's like, I get to reacquaint with my husband. You're home. So
sometimes that's not a bad thing.
But the other thing about today's modern musician is more or less most of the people that I play with, we all have multiple personalities and projects going on, and I think that's the fuel. Like, look at Gene Simmons, who always has so many great entrepreneurial things going on. If I looked at him as someone I look up to in the music business, and his philosophy of not really having that vacation and day off, well, I guess I am not far off from aspiring to look at him. I've always loved and appreciated and respected him as a musician, and just a person that is very influential in doing things for yourself and being an opportunist. So I am a student of Gene Simmons in the sense that, and maybe you guys are too. I mean, if you wake up and you just don't do anything, well, you can do that too. But I always try to get up with a purpose, and it starts with a coffee, a nice strong coffee, and then it's like, all right, what are we doing today? So, music is a great thing. You know why? Because part of the being a musician is it involves a social, interactive environment. Like making new music with other musicians is very satisfying. Putting out a new record with Slash, I mean, it doesn't get any better than always creating new songs and getting to play songs in front of an audience, and songs you wrote, and new music, and always creating. That's very, very satisfying. And then just the fact that when I do other gigs, like play with Gene, or if I'm doing Toque, what I'm doing is I'm still I'm always playing new songs. So it's never complacent, and I've got so many, like, it's like a constant Rolodex of ideas and music going through my head. So I would never even know what to do to slow down, because there's a new gig coming at me all the time, and it feels good. So I'll ride it out. I mean, I'm 48 years old, and the fact that maybe if I'm able to say I'm probably having the best time and doing my best work today rather than in my early 20s or something, and trying to live up to something I did a long time ago, I'm not going to complain, because if one day the phone doesn't ring, or one day something's not right and I can't find a way to make a living playing music, because that's the other thing too, is like when you see it, like a young musician who maybe looks up to myself or Todd or Slash or Gene or anybody, and they're all wondering, well, how do I make it in music? Well, I am very thankful and lucky that I have figured out, and it's always a constant, like, I don't really know what the next step is, but planning ahead is almost like, you can't really say, you can't predict the future as a musician, but a lot of these happy accidents of having a chance to, the phone rings one day and then your life changes. I don't know, I can't make those happen, but they do happen. And it comes from an experience I had 20 years ago. That's usually the way it is somebody I met, somebody I worked with, and you kind of build off experiences you had with other people, and then 20 years later someone calls you and goes, hey, like, I met Gene Simmons many years ago in Los Angeles when I first worked with Bruce Kulick in Union. That was 1996, and I was a new kid from Canada, getting myself established in a new city in LA. And I didn't know Gene Simmons personally, other than I met him through Bruce. And would I have planned 20 years later to actually, share a stage with him in a band situation? Well, no, but it's like that kind of stuff has been falling into place. And every day I'm so thankful if anyone actually wants to call me and hopefully, make some music with me, if it's make a record or just go on tour together, then I'm proud to do it, because I'm here to, I'm a lover of the whole music business, and just being able to still make a living after all these years is like, I'm always constantly thankful for that, because, it gets harder and harder, and that's, music evolves. I mean, a lot of people in Vegas, they're like, hey, Brent, you ever thought of DJing? And I'm like, what? Well, you could get a good gig DJing in town. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm serious. Like, people have said, the live bands in Vegas is getting few and far between. So the new crowds, the people that come to Las Vegas to be entertained, they're not looking for bands in the casinos or headline shows. They're all going to watch DJs. And that's just because that's what's happening now. And I have to be aware of that. But I'm not about to I'm not going to become a DJ anytime soon.
Not when I go to Vegas. I look for the live shows. I don't want to see. I was
just out there this summer, and when we were in a few of the casinos, I tried to do that. I tried to look for live bands. I couldn't find them. I mean, it was ridiculous. So
it's just different, yeah. And
the same.
I don't know if you guys are similar in my age. Maybe I'm guessing not that far.
I'm 53. I'm 53, and Bill's 52, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like going to a concert is a pilgrimage of that's what we do. Like, I certainly am happy to go watch my favorite band on a DVD at home too. But if they're coming through town, I want to go see them live, and I want to experience that. And I don't, I might take a couple pictures at the show, and I saw KISS on the boat this year. I saw them last year. I always, watch a little bit of them, because I will always and still am a huge KISS fan. That band has always, been a huge influence to me. So I enjoy going to the concert, but I don't sit there filming every damn clip and putting them up on YouTube, because, I'm there for the moment.
Right.
Well, I want to tell you that of all the clips I watched, the clips of Bruce Kulick's set, that was by far, to me, the best set on the entire ship.
Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, that's happened twice. This is 2 years in a row.
Oh my God!
That's knocked it out of the park.
Set list was incredible. You guys sounded incredible. I was like, oh my gosh, I've watched that about 6 times.
Because it's worth watching. I mean,
we need a live EP of that. Would be great.
Good.
Well, I will just as a comment, an out of body experience, me not being able to assess it. I've been able to go back and look at some YouTube clips myself and kind of go, wow, that really came together great, or we did sound good. But the out of removing myself from it and knowing that a lot of other KISS fans, hopefully, I think I am one of the same people that would go to the cruise and enjoy, what would they want to see? What is a KISS fan expecting? And because I am one myself, and the other guys in the band, and knowing Bruce as well as I do as a member of KISS, I think picking a good set list sort of gives that reason to make a lot of people happy. But it's sort of like it's a selfish on my part. I remember after last year, we had this great group of songs we did, and we only played once on the boat, and it was like, well, that was great. At the time, we didn't really feel and know how much impact it was to people, because on the boat there's not much internet and not anyone's really able to communicate outside of the boat. And then clips start to show up on YouTube, a couple days later and weeks later, and then here we are a year later, and of course, I've heard many compliments from people saying how much they enjoyed that. So as it got closer this year, we were definitely thinking, well, what can and should be appropriate to sort of build off that. And I selfishly and Todd and Zach, I think we all kind of were, we kind of looked at Bruce and said, well, here's what some of the songs should be. And Bruce certainly had some ideas of, I remember, right off the bat, he was a big supporter. He was like, we should do Sword in the Stone. And we were like, well, fuck yeah, that's a great idea.
That right there made my day.
But I was, my first choice, coming into thinking about this year was like, we're fucking opening with King of the Mountain. Come on. And everyone was like, well, that's a great idea. And I remember Bruce probably was like, oh boy, that's going to be a lot to start off with. And we were like, but that's what we got to do. Right. We got to build up to that. And we should open with King of the Mountain. It will be fucking great. And that was sort of how the set list got built off, was like, come out swinging and then fill in the blanks. And then Bruce had the idea of, well, we get to play twice on the cruise this year, but there's a lot of songs we could do, but how do we get them all in our hour and 15 minutes we're going to play each time? So the medley idea came in to play. And I think that really worked well, was put some songs together and just some, verses and choruses and some stuff that would never, ever like fight hell to hold you, like off Crazy Nights, Little Caesar, the Carnival of Souls medley that we did.
That was incredible.
Whose idea was that? Was that Bruce, or was that one of you guys that first came up with the Carnival of Souls?
I think the idea was, we knew, well, we should cover the general agreement was Anything's Game from 1984 when Bruce started on the Animalized tour, through to 96 through Carnival of Souls. So that was the idea, is, well, how do we cover a little bit of everything and not repeat ourselves last year purposely without, unless it's just a great choice. Like we thought Who Wants to Be Lonely could still be played this year, even though we played last year. But then, we just unanimously all agreed. And I think that was a good thing, was nobody was, it wasn't just one person making the decisions. We sort of all went, well, what makes sense? And clearly we made some good choices, only because everyone on the cruise and everyone that's responded really enjoyed that. And there's a lot of those songs that just haven't been played or celebrated by KISS. So the whole purpose of us doing all those songs is just like, what do we do that's different? So we're not repeating. And, next year we can absolutely do a whole nother set of different stuff, and I think still satisfy. The band has legs. We've got growing room, and we'd love to do more of it. There's no question that we've talked about it, and it's just a timing thing. Everyone's, Bruce has very much still always been a big part of Grand Funk Railroad, and Todd and I are going to be very busy next year, starting like first week of January with Slash, and I think we're out right until August, but we'll figure it out. I remember coming home the other day off the boat, and I said, Bruce, let's go jam next week. Let's go work on it. It was so much fun. We were like, let's just go play some more songs, and let's just do all of Asylum, see how that sounds. But hey, guys, we're all KISS fans, right? Come on.
And that's what I'm saying. That was really great, because you guys are all fans. You were as big as fans as we are. You're just not up there, doing this just for, cashing a check and whatever. You're still cashing a check, but don't get me wrong, but you're there as a fan, and you're digging it as much as we are. And that's the cool part about this.
And so to give back to the band that I love so much, I think putting myself into the family tree, it started with Bruce years ago, and being a member of Union, and I've been very close with Eric Singer for many, many years. Like, we're like best buds. So even Eric has acknowledged, he watched us on the boat, and he enjoys it just as much as anybody, and he's in KISS, and he was like, it fucking sounded great, guys, all the harmonies and all the, and I'm playing some of his stuff off Revenge, which is really cool songs. So I'm always like, Eric, did I play that right? Did I do it? Did I do it justice? Because, if my friend is watching the band do his song, I want to make sure I'm respectfully doing that. And again, that's part of being a KISS fan. And all of these other gigs that I've been doing, when I play with Slash and I play Guns N' Roses songs, which we haven't really played much of lately, because on the last tour and our new record, we were really focusing on just our own music from the last 3 records from Slash, Miles Kennedy, and the Conspirators. But to play a Guns N' Roses song, I think it's my own personal insistence on respectfully giving the original song its due, like I study it. I fucking want it to sound like as if I was playing it. Oh, I was the drummer. If it's a Steven Adler song, I want it to sound like Steven Adler, you know. And
Right.
when we play Eric Carr era KISS songs that Bruce was involved in, I better be channeling Eric Carr. And then when it's into the revenge mode, I better be channeling Eric Singer, because it's sort of like chameleon-like. And I think that gives the songs a good representation. And Todd Kearns certainly is the most special ingredient that makes the songs, you know, like Paul Stanley was so fucking good on those 80s era. You know, KISS tuned up to 440. They went up half a whole step on their guitars in those 80s era records, and Paul was singing in the fucking stratosphere.
Oh yeah,
and
way high.
You know, I mean, we didn't sing My Way off Crazy Nights, but I can't think of a better vocal from Paul where he was singing so high. But so Todd was like, fuck man, I got my work cut out for me on all these songs. And then we added the idea of having a set list covering 1984 to 96. There's a lot of Gene Simmons songs that had to have his voice contributed to the song to make it effective. And just having Todd sing all these Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons songs kind of felt like, well, I don't know if we're going to serve these songs right. And we always loved, and we're thinking of how would Zach Throne be part of this in the big picture. And this was a while ago, and Zach has been part of several bands that Todd and I have been involved in, and Bruce, for years. And it just became appropriate that, all right, this set list requires 2 strong lead singers, just like KISS. So that's what we did. We brought in 2 lead singers to make that set list happen. And it seems like that's what everybody responded with, was like, both those guys sounded so great singing those songs. So, I mean, I was just happier than, you know, the songs were playing themselves on the cruise. I'm just smiling back there going, I can't believe we're playing, you know, we're opening with King of the Mountain. Here we go. Look up.
Right.
Well, he tore Hate up. I mean, that was
that was
medley
impressive.
started. I was like, oh shit, how's this? Oh goddamn, this is great.
Yeah, that's so awesome to hear, guys. I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed it too. And
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like I said,
You know,
another
the thing
highlight of the cruise for me. You know,
Yeah, I think
I
the
didn't
thing
go, but you know.
the thing that I've enjoyed about the Gene Simmons thing, and then, you know, watching the Bruce Kulick, you know, both years, is just you get to hear the stuff that you don't hear, you know, the same 16 songs, and
Yep.
we, you know, we saw that on the cruise, but you know, you just get to hear other stuff that you're longing for.
The Gene solo band was doing some deep stuff too.
Yeah.
And that exactly was perfect, because, you know, KISS does a set list of what KISS does, and you've got Gene Simmons KISS fanatics in his band, myself, you know, Jeremy, Ryan, and Phil. And, you know, if Gene said, hey, let's play, it could have been anything. We would have been like, 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. We would have happily. I mean, we were able to get She's So European in the set. I thought that was very, very deep cut and very cool. And, you know, we were playing Ladies Room. What was, God, I'm just drawing blanks. But we were doing like Beatles songs out of the blue. Like, let's just play some Beatles songs tonight. And so that, you know, the template of that certainly helped for, you know, working with, you know, Bruce and then, and Bob last year too. But this is crazy KISS fan stuff for me. I mean, like I said, you know, being a longtime fan and starting out with Bruce years ago in a fresh band writing new music in Union was, you know, very, very special. And then just to still be in the KISS family, I guess, the circle, and to, you know, get to play with Gene and Bruce and Bob last year. And then Bruce's, you know, deep, extended, long, you know, career era set list this year it's all like, I can't believe I've, you know, been fortunate enough to get to play all those songs, because I'm ready to play all of them. It's just a matter of, and, you know,
say the word.
I will say this. There was a lot of people asking me about the Ace Frehley situation, and are you going to play in Ace's band? And just, I'll even answer my own question before you even ask it, whether you want to know or not. But because the Gene band went from Gene over to Ace, and that I think was a great thing because, again, like I said, all of us playing with Gene as big fans and a very tight band would more, of course, complement any other member of KISS for the right reasons. Fans and great players and great singers. So the only thing that was coming into conflict was when Gene had an Australian tour booked in August, which was initially scheduled in February and got moved to August. I was always planning, okay, if that's what we're doing, I do have this Slash record coming out and this tour planned, and we'll try to work around the schedule. And it was always worked out until Ace Frehley got added to the whole, he was going to be part of it too. And then we were going to do, 2 shows, one set with Ace and one with Gene. That was fine. What happened is Ace was going to go on and do these shows in Japan the week after. I could not do those shows. So I knew months in advance, well, this isn't going to work. So I basically said, look, I think it's better that I'm not, part of that whole entire tour. And we should just get a drummer to do all the dates. So it's not like I'm just doing half the tour and cutting out. So I basically politely backed out, and I talked to Gene about it and he was totally cool. But, I said, I'm going back to do this Slash thing, but I can't go to Japan. So I hope it's cool. Like if you guys get another drummer, then, and it worked out. And Matt's been doing the gig and, most recently on the boat, I'm guessing he'll probably stay with Ace now for the, because he played with Ace before. But, Christopher Williams did the gigs over in Japan.
Right.
In Japan, he's a huge KISS fan too.
We're good friends with him. He's been on the show 2-3 times, and he's just a great guy. And he was thrilled to go.
yeah. I mean, it all worked out good. So, in a way, my backing out benefits. It's not like it was a problem. As long as you have the right personality and energy and someone that knows the gig, then it's going to be successful. I know Gene, probably didn't even miss me.
Well, the thing was is, after Christopher got back from the Japan thing, then when this boat came up and it's all this stuff, then he was back with Accept, so he couldn't do it. So it's just, it's one of those things where you just like, darn it, time. But when you guys are playing and not just one band, that's what's going to happen. You've got to, your schedules have got to line up. So.
Yeah, it's the way, having several gigs on the go. Once in a while they overlap, and I just have to, if we're going to go do some more Kulik gigs, be great. But, it's just like, well, it's not that easy because of Grand Funk Railroad gigs with Bruce and Todd and I was Slash. So, in a perfect scenario, we could just, because Ace Frehley went and did gigs right after the cruise. Those guys, I think, just finished up this week, and they kept going, and that was awesome. And but we did one gig before the boat, the Kulik band. We went and did a gig in Fort Lauderdale, which was cool.
Right.
So, but anyway, yep.
Awesome.
This KISS family tree has a lot of tentacles,
a lot of branches,
Does.
I'm glad you're in the family though.
Talent.
It's cool.
A lot of great talent. That's the whole thing. It's a lot of great talent, and we're glad to always hear it.
Yeah. Well. It's blossoming into a bigger family tree now. And with having more solo things, the Paul's Soul Station and Gene doing solo dates and Ace, still very much a solo artist. I think Peter's doing something. I was at DW Drums the other day in LA because I was building my A and B kits that are going over next year to Europe and Asia and all these places. And I went over just to the DW factory, and John Good, one of the owners of DW, he had mentioned that he was doing something with Peter Criss this past weekend. So I don't know what that was.
Huh.
Come on, you guys are KISS experts. You should know.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe there's something in the horizon.
I don't know.
We'll find out soon.
You never know.
I've never met Peter Criss.
Neither have I. What a coincidence.
I met Mark St. John.
I never got
really?
to meet.
That's
I was
cool.
supposed to meet him, and he didn't show up in Indy.
Well, he did a convention in Vegas, and it was kind of unfortunate. He wasn't in the best of condition, but I wasn't living in Vegas at the time, but some friends put on a convention. I came up to Vegas in, I don't know, 2000, 2001. So it was a long time ago. I have the picture to prove it, but I met Mark and hung out that day. And I also met Eric Carr on the Crazy Nights tour well, that would have been, I guess, 88. I brought down some drum heads I worked for a music store as a teacher, but it was like the happening drum store in town in Winnipeg, my hometown. And they used to ask me once in a while, knowing that I would know the bands and love, the bands playing at the arena. Hey, we got a request to bring down some, snare heads for Eric Carr. Are you cool with going down there? We think my fucking answer is like, yeah, I'm there, of course.
I'm eating lunch right now, damn it.
Not this time. Maybe next time. Let somebody else go.
18-year-old kid goes down and drops off some heads for Eric Carr. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. And so that happened, and I got to meet Eric. I got to, he was really cool. His tech brought me in. I spent some time on the KISS stage. They brought me up. I got to play Eric Carr's drums with him standing there. It was pretty fucking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, gave me a pair of sticks, and I didn't meet Bruce that day or anybody else. But and the first time I saw, so that was the second tour I saw of KISS, because since I'm 48 and I'm from the smaller, not so big town in Canada. KISS came through a few times in the early 70s. Obviously, I was so little and wasn't able to go to concerts. But when Love Gun was coming through, I was 7 or 8, and I was just under the radar. And I don't think my parents were letting me go to the concert yet. But 84 Animalized tour, first time I saw KISS with Bruce Kulick. And what's awesome is Todd Kearns and I are both from close by cities. He's from in Saskatchewan, and he would have saw the show the night before in like Regina, Saskatchewan, and I saw it the next night on the Animalized tour. So we both were laughing like, we fucking saw Bruce in 1984, days apart, and here we are playing on the boat with him now. So
that's crazy.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
And I've seen KISS a ton of times since then. Like I went to the Dodger Stadium show. Well, I went to the reunion show, 96. It was Gene's birthday. So August, what is it? 24th, 25th?
25th.
Yeah.
25th in 96 when I first moved to LA. I went with Bruce. So that was weird. I was like at the reunion show at the Forum in LA, and then we went to Dodger Stadium a little while after that. And we've done a million, like with Slash on tour, I've done tons of gigs where we were on like the same festivals in Europe, and we've sort of like shared backstages together. And it's like
cool.
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree now. I'm like now I'm so connected to them, it's kind of weird. But I'm still always a fan. I mean,
That's
playing
cool.
a band with Gene, but I still have much respect for him, and if I get an email from him or a text or something, it's we stay in touch or whatever. But I never don't not remember that I'm always thankful that I have the ability and privilege to be playing music with people I looked up to my whole life.
Awesome.
That's cool, man.
That is super cool.
All right, Brent. Well, we know you got a busy day ahead of you, and you got to get up early tomorrow. So I guess we're going to let you get.
I did all the talking.
Let you
Hey,
get.
no, it was
well,
cool,
that's
man.
the point of having
No.
you on the show, is so you can talk, so that we don't have to.
People
Exactly.
do not want to
seriously-
hear us.
But seriously, thanks for your time, Brent, and
thank
I
you
hope
so
you
much,
have a
dude.
great tour with Toque.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
leaving
no
tomorrow, and then I think I'm gonna. You were asking earlier about taking a break. I might actually have December off, but we'll see what
Wow.
happens. But
That'd
I
be cool.
plan to be home for most of December and do some sort of like holiday hang, because I got to be gone January till August next year. I
wow.
mean, that's not for everybody. That lifestyle of being gone like months at a time. It's totally pirate gypsy stuff. Living out of a suitcase, airplane, tour bus. Not that glamorous. Might sound like, oh, that sounds fucking great, man. I would love to, be on a tour bus, but
Until you
It
get to
all,
your
like
15th
anything.
truck stop and your 15th McDonald's.
well, I am never complaining. I'm just saying that the
Right.
routines get like where you sort of go, all right, I know my routine here, and I want to make it always fun, and I'm never going to complain because I know how to, adapt to those things that are just like, you can't change the fact that, well, I'm going to be living out of my suitcase for the next couple of months, and you just sort of plan for it accordingly. But I mean, what's the other option? At least I really get to play and do what I love, so I'm very thankful. So
You guys have been releasing some singles. When is your new
Yeah.
is an album coming out then? The whole album soon?
the album came out in September. They put out the first single called Driving Rain. And it's been all over, like some Billboard charts and whatnot. And those kind of things that happen and you see like, oh, it's on the charts. That stuff is unbelievable because, to put out new music. And like I said before, it's a privilege to get to play with, someone like Slash who, has already has iconic status, with, such a great catalog of songs. But we've put out songs that are new and people still are, into hearing new music from Slash. And that's awesome too, to be part of putting new songs that, somehow have, been on the charts. And Slash is sort of from the same era of KISS and Van Halen and a lot of those Motley Crue and that. And to get something new on the radio is kind of like, huh? It doesn't always happen. So to put out a new record and see that it's, doing well that way. We just today, there's a new video that's filmed by all the fans. The song's called Mind Your Manners. If anyone that's listening wants to check it out, I'm sure it just came out YouTube and on Slash's page and everything, and we're all sharing it. But it's fan filmed, and the cool thing is, and if other bands are going to start doing this, there's an app, and everybody jumps on the app, films going to the concert, being at the concert, and all the parts of that song, and it all gets uploaded to us, and it gets put through into a video format. So we basically shared making a video with all the fans and their footage. It's really cool. So it's called Mind Your Manners, and I just saw today, this morning, that it finally got released. So
that's cool.
That shit is awesome.
All right.
All right.
Well, guys,
on that note, I'm going to take us out of here. If you hang tight, Brent, I'll get us off, and then we'll have a little post-show chat.
Maybe I'll see you guys at an Indie Expo next year, or maybe some Slash gigs next summer, something like that. But I can't say bye. I'll just say until I see you soon enough.
All right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Awesome, guys. All right. Great talking with you. Be well. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Hang on.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, folks. Check us out on agesofrock.com. Check out all our social media, Stitcher Radio, and all of that good stuff. And until next week, peace out, folks. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.